Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Nearly Senior Citizen here. Greetings, boys and girls, and welcome to this. On my lap, actually, just on my left leg, was a little rodent. Was, because now she's in my hand and not on my leg. But she's the cutie. This is, of course, little Saber, little Cream. She is an absolute sweetheart. She's still, young. She's getting rapidly older, so... I mean, she's only got a effective lifespan of, it says 2 to 4 years, but my little guys, generally, if they last 2 years, they're old. So, she's a sweetie, and I made noises, got her out of her house, and now she wants to go back into her nest. So, here we go, keeping the feet on my hands so that she doesn't, feel like she's dangling over the abyss. There we go, into your house, and then pull the lid back. And now she is safe. Yay! A very good thing. Uh-oh, where's my comb? I don't know where my... Oh, it's right next to me. No wonder I couldn't find it. I don't really have a ton that I can remember. Of course, whatever I think of previously, because last night there was a ton of stuff I wanted to talk about in the morning, but I didn't write down. And so now I'm left just to go, except what I was thinking about this morning, because of some stuff that I'd gone through, was just to talk a bit about my wife, Jennifer, my late wife, Jennifer. She did not have a good life at all. I mean, I talk about my life being bad, and it is and has been. Life is life. But her life was not good. She was born with, the potential for Hodgkin's lymphoma, the disease. And when she was a teen, she had it. But because it was her and her mother, and this was back in the 70s, trying to get male doctors to listen, they wouldn't forever. She had grapefruit-sized tumors growing on her body like this and inside of her. And finally, one doctor listened and took them seriously and discovered that, yeah, that's Hodgkin's lymphoma. Horrible disease. She was one of the last people that received massive radiation treatment and massive chemotherapy. She was one of the last people that got that because they discovered that it saves your life when you're young. But then you die when you get between 30 and 40 because the massive radiation and chemo has destroyed your heart and lungs. So, yay on that. But they cut away all the tumors. They opened her up from sternum down to figure out if there were tumors on the inside of her. So she was a mess. In fact, by the time I met her, when she was 30? Yeah, she must have been, she was 31, and I was 40. So it was a, almost 10-year difference in age. But she was the dominant one in chasing me down because I was broken at the time, just out of rehab. But I'd gone to work at where I went to work. She was there. We saw each other, and then freight train. And that was a good thing. But she did have that Hodgkin's lymphoma and the surgeries. So when I met her, she took a lot of medications. A massive amount of medications. Thousands of dollars worth every month just to stay alive. Luckily, Medicare and Medicaid helped, which was good. But she took a lot just to live. And then after we got married, and she got pregnant again because she'd already had one child from her previous relationship. And that was wonderful because the guy left her on the altar. Yay! She was there and waiting. So that never happened. But she still had her son. So at 5 years old, I was introduced to the son. And when we became married a little bit later, there was the son, who I then continued to treat as if he was my kid. Good deal for that. Unfortunately, we could never afford the adoption paperwork, so he's always had his original last name and not the family last name. And that's never good. But life is life. So we had one child, a daughter. Everything was okay. A year and a half later, she'd had, well, not a year and a half later she had, but we had an IUD put in with her because she was basically fertile myrtle. And so even with an IUD in place and me with a next to 0 testosterone count, she got pregnant again. So our son was gestating away, and unfortunately halfway through that she had to be taken to, I used to live, when I was married with my wife, up in Blaine, which is right on the Canadian border, literally right on the Canadian border. We were 2 blocks south of Peace Arch Park in Blaine, and when you walk into Peace Arch Park, if you walk like another block, you're in Canada. So we lived there. Trying to remember where I was going. Oh yes. And then things went south with the pregnancy. She had to go to Seattle and then stay in the hospital there in like 4 or 5 months when she was pregnant, because she just went into labor. And when the idea is, when you go into labor, is keep your body as still as possible to keep that baby in there, because you don't want to go spitting that baby out at only 4 or 5 months, because that ain't gonna live. So she stayed for months in the hospital in Seattle, and then one day I got the call that the cord wrapped around the baby. The baby is now in desperate things. We're prepping her up for an emergency C birth. Her first child was cesarean. Our daughter, cesarean. Now our next child, cesarean. So I had to leave from Bellingham, Washington and drive all the way down to Seattle, and I was again present for the birth of my second child, where I got to be present during both of her cesareans, and so that was cool. And that's when things went downhill, because her whole system started to fail at that point. And it became a rush, because she needed to heal up from her cesarean surgery fast enough that she could be healthy enough that they could go in and crack her chest open to fix her heart. And that was close, really close. She was barely healed up enough. On the day that they did heart surgery, she was dying on the table. If it had been another day, wouldn't have mattered anymore. But they replaced 2 of her heart, well, yeah, 2 of her heart valves, and afterward another one started to fail, and then her 4th valve failed. So she had 2 working valves and 2 valves that failed entirely, and she was only like 43. And their surgeon came up to me afterward and talked about how, because of the radiation, her heart was just a massive scar tissue, nowhere near the size it should have been for a woman her size and age. And her lungs had just been ravaged by the radiation. It was a downhill slide after that. The doctors predicted she'd last about 5 years. She really pushed it and lasted 10. But it was touch and go from that point afterward. From then on, she spent anywhere from 3 to 6 months in the hospital every year for the rest of the 10 years of our 12-year marriage. So I spent a lot of time at home just wondering if she was ever going to come back, and then spending my days in the hospital with her. And I don't remember a ton of a lot of what happened in the beginning. with my depression, my rehab, and more. I can't remember a lot, but I do remember things like my mother-in-law. It was tearing her apart as well during this time because we lived with her parents. They lived on the bottom half of their house. They let us live in the top half. And then they took care of our kids. But she told me afterward, it was just, that it was breaking her heart because she could hear me when I was just crying out of control upstairs. So I have been doing well up till this point, so I'm going to try and gather up some excess fluids here and then maybe get to a lighter point in the stories. My therapist has been quite impressed with my recovery because a year ago I would not have been able to tell this story. I mean, I've just now started to lose it, and beforehand I wouldn't have even been able to start talking. So I have been getting a lot better through therapy, and that is very, very good. I'm nowhere near at the state I should be. It's going to take years of work, but I know where the exit, not the exit, the center of the dark forest is. It's behind me, and I'm walking toward the outside of it. I've been walking into a dark forest for a very, very long time. It's going to take a long time to walk out, but the midpoint is behind me, and the way out is still ahead. And that's a good thing. But in 2014, finally her system had failed enough that she went to the University of Washington, well, we both did, to see if she could get onto a transplant list for lung transplant or heart transplant. And during the months that she was there, excuse me, she came to terms with what was happening and decided to go into hospice, which is where they stop aggressive treatment and they send you home so that you can die. They expected her to last maybe 3 months, but it was about 2 weeks and then she was gone. She was always struggling to make her kidneys work ever since her heart surgery went down. She was always on a massive amount of diuretics, but after her heart surgery it was even more of a struggle, always walking on a razor's edge between too aggressive and kill her kidneys, not aggressive enough, kills her kidneys. We walked on a tightrope, a razor's edge, for 10 years on a balancing act, keeping her kidneys going. She went septic because of a UTI, and they had to aggressively treat her with antibiotics. And the people at the University of Washington did not know her full history, and the antibiotics they gave her wiped out her kidneys. And 2 weeks after she came home on hospice, she was gone. Well, 3, I think. But she was gone. And when the people from the funeral home came, because of my history of working in, excuse me, working with geriatric patients and the dead, I actually helped the guy move the body of my wife into the body bag and watch them take her away. So that probably didn't help things. Whew. Well, this got a little bit more depressing than I actually meant it to, so I hope nobody's really horrified. Because I just wanted to talk about her life, not be depressed about stuff, because she lived a long life for her 41 years. And I talk about my life being bad again. It is, but at least I'm not dead. I've opened up 24 hours. Well, no. I've opened up close to 15 hours. The Mr. Beast comments have died off incredibly. I'm actually getting real comments now instead of just page after page after page of Mr. Beast. So, I mean, I appreciate everyone trying to help. Do not get me wrong. I appreciate people trying to help. The odds of him ever helping were like 0.000000000000001%, and the dice didn't roll that because they're percentiles. They roll 1 to 100. Hard to get those percentiles that are so much closer to 0 than 1. But still, again, people tried to help, and that's what was awesome. Thank you all so very much. But I've opened up a whole bunch of pages, and I'm going to go through and thank 20 to 25. It is a range, and I count in American Sign Language from that because of my fibro, depression, and more. If I mispronounce their username, I suddenly just went blank. My sincere apologies, especially now, where I'm still messed up because of talking about my wife, so I'm going to do my best. And, oh, my tummy. Oh, excuse me. Ugh. If, I can't remember where I was, mispronouncing usernames? No, I'm going to read the comments afterward. Thumbs up everyone I read, answer as many as I can, but for right now, thank you for having left me a comment. It is appreciated. Thumbs up and thank you so very, very much. So let me call up my Chrome, and then we can get this done. Good nerf. John Timing, thank you very, very much. And Jas VX, greatly appreciated. T_pot, thank you very, very much. Potatotron, greatly appreciated indeed. The Cerebral Virulence, I like that name. 13 Candy, greatly appreciated. Bristian the Goat, thumbs up. Hitler Boy 482666, how about that? Coops, thank you very, very much. And Bugaboo Ladybug, greatly appreciated. Lil Cancer, thumbs up. Thrashing_death, greatly appreciated. Toli the Koala, thumbs up and thank you. Gustavo Lasalata, greatly appreciated. Crystal, thumbs up and thank you. Crinalexia, thumbs up and thank you. Cat That Hat, thumbs up. And the Flying Amzing Duck, greatly appreciated. X Boy, thumbs up and thank you. His pal Mugman, greatly appreciated. The Queen, thumbs up and thank you. Raiding Cow, heck of a name. And Godly Gamer, greatly appreciated. Ray Noble, thumbs up and thank you. And last but not least, David Hudgens. Thank you all so very, very much. As stated, you get me out of my head, into the world, dealing with real people. It is appreciated. When you're depressed, you just, hearing your own thoughts echo off your skull is not good. Getting out with other people's views, other people's inputs, to get new input so you're not just hearing all that old bad stuff going round and round. It is very appreciated. I messed my own throat up by getting all emotional. Anyway, though, if you can check out my various links, I have Twitter, Facebook, GoFundMe, Patreon.com, and of course, NearlySeniorCitizen.com, a blog that I've got to start working on. My thanks to everybody who has donated to my GoFundMe campaign or become one of these amazing and beautiful Patreon.com patrons. The donations have trickled down to about $8 every couple days now, so that's okay. I got money to save me for these bad times, and I'm not going to be homeless this month. January, I'm looking good. February, I got time to work on. That's important. Very, very cool. Now, if you cannot donate or you simply do not donate, I do take all good wishes and deposit them in the bank of my heart where I draw interest. So thank you very, very much. And if you could toss me a like, I do appreciate all the positive validation I get from my existence. Definitely a thumbs up. And of course, if you could subscribe to the channel, that would be very, very cool. Greatly appreciated. I would understand if you don't want to, but if you do, I will do my very, very best to keep you entertained from now until the literal end of time. And yes, I know I talk with my hands and it drives some people crazy. What can I say? Well, hopefully I'm going to have a reaction video. Hopefully I said that in English too. Hopefully I'm going to have a reaction video, hopefully a game video for this channel, hopefully a game video for my game channel. I want to start live streaming again. I keep falling asleep still. Yay. So you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, my friend, and that is a very good thing.